Well, I'm really happy to have this conversation with another frontline hero. This is Afroz Shah. Now, Afroz Shah is a lawyer by profession, but that's not what most of us know him for. Most of us know him for cleaning up our beaches in Mumbai. He's also, let me point out, the UN's Environment Champion for the Earth. Last year, Indian of the Year, GQ Man of the Year, CNN Heroes 2019. He's all of those things and so much more. So we're all very proud to have Afroz Shah as a citizen of Mumbai. Thank you for speaking with me, Afroz. It's a
Thank you.
pleasure to have this conversation with you.
Thank you,
I want to
Faye.
ask. I want to ask you this. I know that you've been out through this entire lockdown period, helping with relief, basically handing out biscuits, handing out water, trying to do whatever you can for migrants. Um, and you put out a tweet first, saying that the highways right now are a graveyard of human emotion. Could you tell us what you saw when you were out on the highways?
First of all, Faye, when I started the work on March 23rd, I could see it in the streets of Mumbai. So my first reaction as somebody who feels for human being, I said I must take care of half a kilometer around my house. So I saw those very emotion which I saw at the highway. And at the highway, it was the heightened emotion of the highest form. Millions and millions on the road with their luggage either on their head or by their side. And you can identify them in 1 second that they are walking. Some are without chappals, some are with chappals. I met different kind of people. Like I met a group who are cycling all the way to Orissa. Some young people have taken it on to cycle for thousands of kilometers. Then I met some families who didn't know to speak Hindi, who didn't know to speak Marathi. They were from Telangana. They're probably working as, daily wage earners in Mumbai. They were walking. So it was what I put out, that graveyard of emotion was this: nobody to ask them, nobody to take care of them. They're alone. I don't know what kind of. Imagine we were only giving them materialistic thing to survive. The survival kit I called juices, biscuits, water. Emotionally, they must be devastated. Devastated. A lot of mental issues will arise. And I expect in 1 month's time, you'll see horror stories of dead bodies being found because some of them were not physically even fit to carry out their journey. They were not in a physical position, but I think the circumstances forced them to do. So what my job was there, not only to feed them, but what I would do is I would put them in my car behind. I have a pickup truck where people can sit in the open sky. And I used to 100 kilometer, take one family, drive 100 kilometer right up to Shahpur from Thana, leave them there saying that I have done this bait in 100 kilometer. I'll pick up another family, do that. So I used to constantly do that because there was no way they could have walked for 100 kilometers in that heat. Yeah. And I was wondering, I was leaving them at Shahpur, what will happen next? And I used to put a balm on them saying that you found me here, you'll find somebody there at Shahpur or Nasik. Please go ahead, fight this, you will emerge victorious. It was a devastating sight. It was, and it's painful, I think any human being who's sensitive enough to understand human pain and suffering, this was of the highest form.
Afroz, you did have an unpleasant encounter with the police as well, and a fair amount has been written about that. But could you tell us what had happened exactly?
I'll tell you what happened was that day. Generally, I used to go in the first half to take care of the migrants. So I used to carry juices, biscuits, water for them. And I used to carry in 2-3 cars. And by the way, I had the police passes arranged, essential passes. Being a lawyer, I want to be on the correct side of the law. You don't break law during lockdown rules. So Mumbai police was kind enough to issue a pass for me. All was there. We finished giving them everything, whatever we had. And I took a pass through the Thana Mulund check to enter Bombay City. The moment I entered Bombay City, I found another group of young boys. They must be 16, 17s, having boja on their head, carrying. So, my heart goes out at around 11 o'clock in the night. So I asked them, where are you going? They said, we are traveling from Bhiwandi to Bhaikalla. So I said, why are you traveling from Bhiwandi? They said, we have been without food in Bhiwandi. We're dying of hunger. We are traveling to Bhaikalla to get some work if we get something or some food there. So I put some of them in my car. I dropped them in Bhaikalla. Under the Bhaikalla bridge, I took a turn. I gave them biscuits, whatever I had with me. Took a turn. I found another group there. Now, there's no public transport. What do they do? And I decided, one of my volunteer, Faizan, was with me. I told him, Faizan, tonight we are not going back home. Our job tonight is to ferry them on and off because I can take 5 or 6 people behind in my Open to the Sky Forum. So I said, whole night we're going to do that. And incidentally, I'm fasting face. So being Rosa, I have to eat my seri, go back. So I said, don't worry, at seri time, we'll go back, when you start. Suddenly, when police check post was there, they stopped me. As usual, being a lawyer, we well versed. I showed him the pass. I told him, these are migrant workers. I can't leave them on the road. But the police there were obnoxious to the highest degree. There were two constables who actually tried to come on me. And I kept on telling them, mind you, at Bombay High Court, I've appeared for the police department. I appear for Government of Maharashtra in matters. I have defended them in PILs and writ petition. So it was very shocking for me. And I told that constable, take it easy. We all are under stress. There's no need to get it. You have a job on hand. You are a professional outfit. You can't do that. But they wouldn't listen for half an hour. And the abuses and they were hurling me with something obnoxious. They were telling me that Afroz, you are responsible for the spread of the corona, just because I stood for the poor. That was their language. You are responsible, and you are messed up with the police force. So I told them the whole city is suffering. Look at them. They're walking for thousands of kilometers. They will walk now. Anyway, that continued fair for half an hour, 45 minutes on the highway. After that, the constable told me, we'll book you. Let's go to Tilaknagar police station. I said, okay. Being a lawyer, tell me what is the offense. Let's see. If an offense is made out, do it. And I told him, when you produce me before a magistrate the next morning, I will not even ask for a bail. I said, and you write in the FIR that I stood for humanity and I stood for poor. That's my crime. My crime is that I couldn't see people walking. My crime is that I couldn't handle the situation that they have to walk for hundreds of kilometers. We went to Tilaknagar police station. At Tilaknagar police station, again, they are not doing anything. I'm outside waiting half an hour, 45 minutes. They go in, come back. They go in, come back. Go in, come back. I don't know what was going on there with them. Half an hour, 45 minutes. Then again, one constable comes out. He says, Chalo, gaadi leke abhi, as if we are some criminal. I'm some criminal. Can you believe it? And I'm telling them, please Google my name. You'll get all the details about my work. Can I request you to Google my name? And then again, he takes me to LBS Mark outside. And he says, let's go. We'll figure out. You'll be booked now for a traffic offense. So I said, okay, show me what the offense is and book me. I'll pay the fine and compound it there and there itself. We go there, they don't do. Again, half an hour. They're 45 minutes. Heckling, abusing. And you know what? They were behaving like goons. They were trying to tell me that as if I'm responsible for corona in Mumbai City. My act of protecting the poor exposed the police force.
Afroz, you put out a tweet saying, I'm sorry, I'm broken. I can't do this anymore. To the migrants, I'm sorry, I can no longer help you. Was that like an emotional breaking point for you?
It was that night when you are at whole day. I was fasting. I was on the highway. I broke my fast there. When you are physically at your tither's end, you've been pushed now to your physical limit. And imagine 2 o'clock in the morning, a lawyer standing before 2 constables and pleading, saying, please read the law properly. Please understand the humanitarian crisis properly. I broke down. I cried a lot. And I reached home at 3 o'clock. I took my pillow and I cried for half an hour. I cried. I never do that. I'm a very strong man. I just broke down. This is the country which we live in. This country has nothing to offer at this point of time to the poor and the downtrodden. My crime was I stood for them. If I could stay in my flat and in my car, which people are doing, and be at home, why do I choose to be there all alone? I can tear checks and give it. I wish the check could solve the problem of theirs. I wish the check could solve the problem. They need little empathy, care. They need somebody to talk to them. When you talk to them for those 2 minutes and tell them, don't worry, somebody like me will be there ahead, 100 kilometers ahead, 200 kilometers ahead. You'll encounter good people. Don't give up. Don't give up. It's a do or die situation for them. I don't know whether powers to be understand it. People in Mantralaya and government understand it, what they have put it on millions and millions. I mean, it breaks you. It breaks you. Seeing this is not the country which we've survived in. This is not the democracy we voted for. And this is not the humanity. We are growing GDP. We want to go to the moon. We want to go to the Mars. What about these people? It just breaks you down. And I cried. I came back and I broke down hysterically. And I'm still reeling under it. And to tell you the fact, 3 days I'm nursing my wound. I'm not able to handle it because emotionally it's a breakdown. And I get a call today morning from Versova police station. Look at fate. I have not even talked about it on social media. Versova senior PI calls me up and says, Afroz, we need you. There are 500-600 migrants going at Versova police station. We need your help. And in that state of mind, I get up. I go to Versova police station. and I finish my job with them. I calm them up, provide them with basics. I tell them up, go in the bus easily, travel back home safely. You'll be safe. So the whole 5 hours in the morning with this state of mind, again I go back.
What to the people who are at home right now, and I know that people are feeling helpless because you're stuck in the house, you're not sure if it's safe to go out, and you're watching all of this play out on social media and on television. What should other citizens be doing, in your
See, I'll
opinion?
tell you, Faye, what I did was I took a risk. Let me honestly tell you, when you meet people, if there's a risk of you contracting corona, of course you take precaution. I wore my mask. I followed the lockdown rules. I put a face shield on. I wore cap. It was my hands with gloves. I took all precautions. In spite of that, there's a risk element. My mother would call me every day and tell me, Afroz, you're exposing yourself. And I used to tell her, listen, this country needs me. Somebody has to get exposed. And see, we are young now. If we get corona, we'll fight it out. We are not old enough now not to battle it. I always used to tell my young people must develop antibodies to it. We'll fight it out. Even if corona comes, we'll fight it out. But then you have to weigh the balance. Now, people who are sitting at home in Mumbai, I don't know, they'll have to weigh this balance, whether they really want to take that risk for their nation. They want to take the risk for people who are on the streets, who are hungry. It's a humanitarian crisis. It's an unprecedented crisis.
Thank you for the work you're doing. I hope that you find the strength to
And
move
I
past.
must tell you, I'm a big fan of your work too.
Thank you. Thank you. Of course, I hope that when you go back on the road, maybe we can accompany you and actually speak to some of the people.
Hopefully.
All right.
Do that.
Thank you. Thank you for the work you're doing. Have a nice.